We are on.
Live?
Yay! Yeah, we're live.
Okay.
So let's see. Light is turned up. I don't need this open. Hey guys. Phone, water. Okay, it's official. Only thing is, I'm surprised we can't see any dogs in the background. They are back there. All right, here we go. Hi, Terry. Hi, Luke. Thanks for joining today on the Facebook Live. I can see you on here. Hey, Jocelyn.
Here I am.
All right, so we're just getting everything situated here. We haven't actually Facebook Lived one of these new podcasts yet. We're really excited. I guess I'll just kind of intro for a second. Is that good while you're getting it sorted?
Go ahead. You bet.
Sharing it, so we can share it over. Okay, cool. So I don't even know where this came about. I mean, Luke listens to a lot of podcasts. I actually don't listen to as many, but I am a content creating machine.
Yeah.
And so I'm like always open for new ways to get the message out there. And as you guys hop on, definitely say hi and let me know if you can hear us all right. We are obviously without a headset or anything in a hotel room in gorgeous Vail, Colorado. But you never know how everything is rocking and rolling here. We've got everything set up. We are ready to start recording. And basically, Luke and I are starting our own podcast called The Conscious Life. And it's something that's really important, near and dear to us. And we've had a lot of conversations, even just traveling the last couple days. Just watching other people, observing people, like as we go to dinner and as we're traveling, you interact with people and you meet a lot of amazing people. And it's fascinating just watching how many people aren't living a conscious life. And what we mean by that is really just being aware of your emotions, aware of your desires, aware of the actions that you're taking. And it seems like so many people in the world are living life as if it's happening to them instead of life is happening for you. And so just wanting to provide a different view on all of this. Okay, before I get going too much, I'm going to let you hit go on this.
Yeah.
Because I will just be off and running, and then it looks like Luke's not getting a chance to talk, but it's because he's doing tech stuff.
Hey, that's what I want to see. All right.
All right.
I'm going to
play with this guy a little bit.
just move it a little bit.
Let me know if I can help with anything or move your coffee.
Yeah, that might be good. Dump the coffee all over the new stuff.
Let's not do that.
Okay. I think that's going to be better.
That's the amount of coffee I'm allowed to have, by the way.
No, no more.
One sip.
I'm going to take that back.
I'm already a ball of energy in general. All right. Are we
conscious about the amount of caffeine that you drink?
Because I'm a ball of energy. I don't need it. Okay. Rocking and rolling?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, let's go ahead and just start from here then. So in general, we're probably not going to be Facebook Living all of these. But to start us off and to kind of share it with the community, because we're probably going to be kicking this off sometime this month, right? Officially?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Getting it set up on iTunes, and Luke is doing all of that. I'm just here to talk.
Editing. All that.
So grateful. So beyond grateful. So I guess we could introduce ourselves. I mean, did you get to share over to your page?
Yes.
Okay, cool. So we are officially live, first of all. Depending on where you're watching this, you can find me at Jessica Caber Lindholm on Facebook.
And you can find me at Modern Day Gentleman on Facebook.
Absolutely. Like both pages.
Yeah.
Definitely epic. Worth your time. And really what we are focused on more than anything is helping you live your full potential. We are beyond grateful to have this life together at this point, but it's not like we started here. I mean, we met 11 years ago.
Yes.
When I was 22.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were
24.
babies.
Yeah.
We met on the rooftop of a bar in downtown Denver. We were good people, but I'm not going to say we were living an overly conscious life at that point.
No, I was working maintenance at Waterworld.
At a water amusement park.
Water park, yeah, which was awesome, but maybe not financially rewarding, perhaps.
And I just graduated from college and was just kind of hanging out for a moment, figuring out what I was going to do with my life. And I'm sure we'll get into all of that a little bit more, because I just want people to know it's not like we were born meditating. We didn't come into this life in the space of consciousness and kindness. We were always, I think, both raised in that way to be kind to others, of course, and loving and all of that sort of thing. But what does it actually mean to be conscious. And this is something that we were just talking about at breakfast this morning. And dive in at any time.
Yeah.
You guys might not guess, but I might be the talker.
She's going to do a lot of the talking. No. I mean, it's just the amount of people that we just kind of watch or
end up observing.
Yeah, that's better. Yeah,
we're totally creeping.
Yeah.
If you happen to stay at a hotel, we're watching you.
Well, and it's not. It's almost that it's that you don't have a choice.
Yeah.
Some people are so loud in what their interactions are, and it's like.
And I'm not saying edit yourself. Like, one of the big things that I take a stand for is not to edit yourself. If you're someone who's naturally like loud and boisterous and playful, by all means. But we've had multiple experiences in less than 24 hours where people have almost stormed into a situation at a bar or restaurant or whatever, and basically taken their emotional situation and tried to dump it on anyone around them, stranger, bar staff, servant, waitress, anyone. And it's been fascinating to watch that majority of society live their lives in an unconscious way where they're not aware that they are in control of their emotions, and instead they feel like their emotions are controlling them.
They're just having to be, they think they have to be reactive to everything.
Totally.
That in every situation. And
because they're living in fear. Like, they feel like they have to be reactive or they're not going to get what they want out of life.
Right.
There's a random dog in the background. He does belong to us.
Somebody's got an itch.
Thank you for getting on the floor for that. Come here. So I think let's talk a little bit more about what we were talking about at breakfast this morning, and also why are we even starting this podcast? Like, why? Because this was important to you. I know this is important to you.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, I think it is. I wanted to help people. I think we want to help make people aware of just anything in daily life, that it's like, okay, consciously, making decisions based on, the control of your life versus
totally
making the decisions that are reactionary to anything else that's coming at you.
Yeah. Because you are always in control of that. Like, you're not in control of other people, nor do you need to be. But you are in control of your own emotional response.
Yes. Yeah.
This is going to drive you crazy, but you have an eyelash hanging off of your eyelash, and I have to get it.
An eyelash hanging off of my
because
eyelash.
I'm so afraid it's going to end up in your eye.
Okay.
Just had to save you.
I'm sure it was distracting everyone.
No, I'm like, it's going to fall into your eye mid-sentence, and then you're going to be like, attack. What it comes down to is what we just was saying. That our deepest desire is to help as many people live to their full potential. And yes, that can be around business and starting your own business. Yes, that can be around transforming your financial situation. It can be about transforming your relationship with others. I think that we are incredibly fortunate to have the relationship that we have, but at the same time, we have consciously intended and shown up for this relationship daily, right?
Yes.
And that's part of the reason that this is so important to me doing this podcast even, and some of the journaling that I've been doing lately that I'm gonna start sharing more publicly, is because I think that people get it in their minds that, like, if you're online or if you have a business or you live a conscious life, that you just have it all figured out. Right. And I don't think that people understand that we're still obviously very human, as are all people. And so we make mistakes, but and this is the big thing, like, living an aligned life, living a conscious life doesn't mean that you're in flow all the time, everything's easy and you just manifest instantly and everything's perfect. Like, there's still moments where you get afraid or frustrated or scared or whatever.
Sure.
But I think what's different for us is that we shift through those situations relatively quickly.
It's moving forward throughout it, so it's not lingering in your mind. I used to be really bad at it, really. It just, like, in relationships when I was younger, like, 18, 20, 22, stuff like that. And it was like, I just had things that would just linger, and I wouldn't open it out. I mean, even probably when we were first dating and stuff, like, I would just hang on to things, and I would just, like,
this is still happening.
You do that?
Yeah. And I think that this is really common.
Yeah.
It's like if something upsets you, I feel like there's two types of people. Like I'm more the type if something upsets me, I immediately bring it up and we talk about it.
Mm-hmm.
But it's because I like needed to fix the situation because it made me feel uncomfortable, which isn't really the right way to go about it. And you, on the other hand, were like,
I always felt like I had to just take some time to process it on my own. But what that did more often than not was like it was more detrimental because would I really process it? Would I just like,
screw her and
just let it fester and I mean ultimately that certainly didn't help me get past anything. It'd be like just I don't know, it'd be then hours later before I'd be ready to be over it, which is absurd. And so whereas if I now I'm certainly gotten better with presenting anything that's bothering me. This isn't just a relationship thing. It's like anything where it's
well, we've created a safe environment at this point where you can actually express, for both of us to actually express what's going on.
Yeah.
And I think that this is the issue. And I mean, who knows, this is definitely relationship stuff as well, but it goes for everything. If you have clients or customers or family or friends or husband or wife, whatever, all of us have some version of that. And what we notice tends to happen is that we typically don't show up in these relationships in a conscious way. We show up in a way that we're trying to get energy from someone else because we're not creating the energy for ourselves. And when you show up in that way, what that leads to is relationships, especially with couples, but in lots of situations where you're trying to get energy from the other person to make yourself feel okay. And it ends up turning into like long-term resentment. Like you watch these couples, sometimes they've been married a short amount of time or even been together a short amount of time. Sometimes they've been married for years. And it's like they've built up layers of resentment and negativity. And this, she doesn't understand me and he never listens to me and like all of this sort of thing.
Yeah.
And that's what happens when you don't create a safe space to actually get to vulnerably, authentically express yourself.
Yeah.
Period. Actually.
Yeah. You have to be open to being able to hear that, and it's not that it's like a critique or anything like that, but it's like if you're coming to me and telling me something that is bothering you, like I can't just shut down and be like,
exactly.
No, you're being silly. Like
which is something that used to happen between us, right?
Totally.
Because you would be like, what are you talking about? You want me to compliment you more or see you more or whatever. Like I'm doing it all the time. And I'm like, well, I'd like more. And it was almost like you thought I was attacking you because I was asking for something I needed.
Yeah, totally. It was, So I was reacting to the situation.
Yeah, being reactive.
Not in a productive manner where it's like, now it's like,
exactly.
No, we're both open to hearing. You have to be able to listen.
Exactly.
To how your significant other is.
If you want to have this relationship. And I mean, once again, this goes for any relationship. If you actually want to have a conscious relationship with someone on this planet, you've got to be showing up in a way that you are aware. You are aware that your emotions are your GPS system. They're not just truth, right? So if you feel happy or bad or whatever, they're just there to guide you, just like a road sign would on a road trip. You don't you don't see a stop sign and get offended by it or whatever. It's just a guide on your path. So now, I think actually this is a perfect example. We have examples in the last 24 hours of both, one, I got into a situation where I was emotionally triggered by something and then I dumped it over to you. Mm-hmm. And we can go into that a little bit because I think it's a really great teaching point because most people would have turned this into then being mad at each other when it had nothing to do with us.
Right.
It was an emotion that I didn't fully process on my own, that I made mean something it didn't, that I then dumped over to you.
Yeah.
But what I was so proud of us with in that was that I became aware of it really quickly of like, oh my God, I'm not even frustrated with you. And then we were able to drop that and come back into being a couple relatively quickly. And so I think that's a really good teaching point for, it's not that things don't happen, but you start being more aware of what's going on. There's something I was going to say before that was leading into that.
What was it about yesterday, or?
It's about yesterday, but it was before that, in terms of like being aware of your emotions, that they're just a guidance system, that they aren't actually, most people are like boats at sea without their sails up, that are just kind of bouncing between emotion to emotion, not realizing that they're in control of them, right? I mean, think about, we were at breakfast a second ago. We have to find humor in this stuff, because
I mean, this really kind of prompted, like, no,
the reason we're doing this.
We should definitely go do the podcast right now.
We decided to sit outside at breakfast because it's gorgeous. I'll show you guys in a second, or there's tons of pictures on my Instagram and stuff. Right out our door right now, there's just trees and Vail Mountain and the river and everything, and it's beautiful. Colors changing. Yeah, it's beautiful. So we decided to sit outside for breakfast. And apparently the door wouldn't stay closed, and it was just offending a lady. And she was like
getting really cold. Apparently,
she was having a conniption about the door being open without us being outside, and was like propping chairs up against it. She was getting.
She'd shut the door, and then it'd start creeping open again, and she'd come back up, and every time we'd get a little huffier and like. And then she tried to latch it, and she went and sat back down.
We're about to get locked outside.
Again, and then she like takes one of the chairs from the table and like slams it next to the door. And then the wait staff comes out with like
the food and can't get outside because there's a door propped up against propped against the door. And it's like, it was entertaining because it had to be entertaining. Otherwise, it just makes you kind of like sad, because you realize, I was saying this, that so many people are held prisoner by their emotions, and they're like in this space of I'm the victim all the time.
Yeah.
Life, this stuff's happening to me. How dare they sit outside? How dare this stupid door won't lock?
Sure, like, she was like, I can't.
She had a whole layer of things that she was like, these things are making my life bad right now. Instead of like coming back to, what's actually going on? Yeah. Like, what's actually triggering this emotion, and what can I actually do about it at this point?
Yeah.
And that was the whole reason that we were like, we need to do this, because a couple of reasons. One, from a selfish perspective, I find that it's great to be a teacher, and I love the work that I do. I mean, this is my life. I love this work and helping other people live to their full potential. But it's also kind of sucks sometimes when you're wanting to spend time with your family, or you're wanting to spend time with your loved ones, or maybe people that used to be your friends, and you're like, we have nothing in common anymore because we have chosen a different lifestyle in terms of, no, we're not reactive. Most people on this, at least in like modern, I was just on this planet, I don't know if it's on this planet in general, but definitely in the US, people relate by complaining.
Yeah.
We always talk about people or have their coworkers or their friends because it's the people they bitch about someone else.
Yeah.
About how like they don't like their boss, or how dare this one thing. It's the whole reason the show The Office existed. Because so many people could relate to it because it's just
so I just started rewatching the beginning. Holy cow, yeah, it's all, man, the first couple seasons is all about everyone just
majority of the show, but it's hilarious.
Of the show, but yeah.
But I mean, I never really worked in an office, and you did.
Yep, and it was like, I mean, it was a constant, going back, bouncing from one office to another, avoiding the boss's office or whatever, to like, stay away from, this person might hear me say something weird or whatever, but it's like, close the door quietly, and like, oh my God, I can't believe what an a-hole so-and-so is being today. Or
would you say that majority of people, and I mean, this is definitely making a generalization, but majority of people, at least in like the US, and I'm sure in majority of modern society style where we have offices and 9-to-5s and all of that lifestyle, would you say that people spend the majority of their time and their energy either complaining, worrying about, or in fear of things?
Yeah. I mean,
that's absurd.
Yeah.
Because I think 100%. I think majority of the population spends majority of their time in fear, complaining, worrying.
Yeah.
I mean, we always talk about it's either love or fear. Stressed. And majority of that comes from not living a conscious life.
Right.
Like not being victim to your emotions.
It's going through the motions, at least.
Yeah.
You know, in my experience when I was doing it, because I certainly, you know, when I started growing is when we started working together.
Yeah.
And it was like,
you couldn't just complain about me and go to the other room to the, like, you couldn't just go to the dogs and the water cooler.
Or did I?
Jessica, she's...
No, definitely not. But it was definitely like, it was a way to find other ways to grow myself and build on who I am, as opposed to like going through the motions, like being stuck in traffic for an hour, getting to work and getting home, you know, and bitching and complaining during that, and then getting to the office and like just sort of, you know, just going through the motions. Like, all right, I'm selling tickets in the box office, and it's like answering the phone and taking care of them, and they were either really nice or really kind of, but it was like, it was just, that's why I was there. It wasn't like I didn't take the time to really, at that time, to be more conscious with what I was doing in that moment, because I didn't.
And here's the issue. If you slowed down and started being conscious, you probably would have realized relatively quickly that once you awaken to what you desire and who you are, anything that doesn't match up to that in your life can't stick around.
Right.
And so this is where most people get themselves into, is they're like, what, you know, one, you could be more conscious about your experience, even if it's in a 9-to-5 or a job that you don't love.
Yeah.
Like you could be, like you said, if you would have been more conscious around, all right, I could, during my commute, I'm going to use it to listen to amazing audiobooks and whatever. And I know you did a lot of that. And then like, okay, I'm going to be really kind to everyone in the office, which I know that was definitely your style as well. But at the same time, even if you had started being really conscious of how you were feeling and aware of that whole situation, what that would have led you to is, because we use all this like complaining and all this other stuff almost to numb out to what's actually going on. 100%. What is actually going on is you didn't want to be in that freaking job. And I'm going to say most people who are in jobs they don't love, they live an unconscious life, because if you were to start being conscious, you're going to realize there's some massive shifts that are going to have to change career-wise, probably where you're living, potentially in your relationships or who you're married to. I mean, we chose together to move together and to grow together. If we hadn't, our relationship wouldn't have lasted.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And I think that a lot of people get themselves in that situation, and it really comes down to, I get that you're afraid, but is that fear and living in that fear a valid enough reason to not live your destiny? I mean, it's really what it comes down to. Great, you're afraid that there might not be another job. You're afraid because you don't know what work you're meant to do on this planet. You're afraid that if you speak up and you're all of you, that maybe the relationship you're currently in may not last. Okay, and is that a valid enough reason to not live your fullest expression or to live your destiny? And for people like you and I, never.
Right.
We will drop everything. We will set everything on fire. We will start over from scratch. We will whatever, to always come back to our truest state.
Yeah.
And really with our work, with the intention of waking up as many people as possible to who they actually are and helping them fulfill their fullest potential, that's what has to happen. Like, we're shaking people up and we're triggering people a little bit and just showing another option.
Right. I think that's, like this potentially is meant to trigger, you know, a little bit, if it's something that really does, like, you know, fire you up in some way. Like that's our intention to really kind of, you know, toe that line a little bit.
Yeah, because it's never about trying to upset people. But I also know that I could see people being like watching us right now, like, well, it's easy for you. There you are in the beautiful hotel in Vail. There you whatever, like have big successful business at this point. But we didn't start that way. Yeah. Like we didn't come out of the womb meditating. We didn't come we were born in the business. Yeah. We chose it.
Right.
We were bold enough and crazy enough to choose that. And if you guys have questions or anything, definitely type them in as you go. Hi, gorgeous ladies. Hello, hello. So many lovelies. the eyelash tragedy of 2018. We did. We solved the eyelash tragedy. Luke is luckily going to keep both of his eyes.
It was close. It was close.
But no, I mean, that's really the whole reason we're doing this, is because, I mean, I'm so grateful that you want to be a bigger part of this, because I think the intention in the past was to stay kind of behind the scenes, which is fine.
Mm-hmm. Yep. A year ago, right now, I'm not sure I would have been on a Facebook Live, I guess. Yeah, I mean, it was...
Let alone, you were really the one, I feel like, that brought up this whole podcast idea.
Yeah. I mean, I think we talked about it, in passing a lot, but yes, actually getting it kind of to fruition.
Yeah.
For sure. I pushed a little bit more for it.
We'll be talking about a lot of things. Like, I know that we'll be talking about more deeply about relationship and how that actually works. Because to be honest, I mean, Luke and I work and play together full time. Like, we live together, we travel together, we run the entire business, my business, ToLivingFree, together. And now with you starting your business, The Modern Day Gentleman, like, we're not running it together, but we kind of are. Yeah. Like, we're still doing all of these, we're doing all of this together. And so it's like, how do you maintain a relationship? How do you maintain excitement in a relationship? Being together 11 years now, and having that daily commitment to it. Because I think that's what most people start to like zone out. They're like, well, I got married, and now things should just be perfect all the time, and he should know how to treat me. And it's like, no, it's your job to ask for what you need. It's not your job to somehow psychically know. I mean, I'm very intuitive, but I still don't know what the heck you want many times. Sure. Like, I need you to tell me.
Yeah, sure.
And actually,
yeah, and likewise. But it's also important to be present with the other person as well, because oftentimes those things can be picked up on as well a little bit.
What do you mean those things?
Like, if you're present with somebody, then you can, you can tell that, you can catch things too. So it's not like the other person is always feeling like, I've always got to ask for everything, like, because that's going to get exhausting too. Yeah. So it's like, I mean, being focused and present with the other person as well,
and being open to ask for what you need without it feeling like an attack. Like, when we ask for what we need, we don't do it in a way of like, you don't let it get to a point where it boils up and you're pissed off and now I need to tell you what I actually need because you haven't been listening. It's like, it's your job to be aware enough of your emotions in the first place to know if you're not getting what you need. And really, everything that you need can come from yourself first and foremost, but it's incredible to have a really fulfilling relationship on top of that. And I think I can think of specific times in the last couple of weeks where you brought up a couple of weeks ago, and I actually brought up yesterday, of like, what we say a lot of times is either like, think I see you, or I'm not feeling seen right now, because both of us work together full time in this business. And there are times that we get so caught up in like the business stuff to actually come back to the relationship side of it. So a couple of weeks ago, you had brought it up. You were like, I don't feel seen right now, basically. And I think that it's something that really, that's a very like powerful masculine thing to ask that I don't think a lot of men would do. It's like they're afraid they feel weak or something. They would turn it into some other emotion. Yeah,
but what good is that going to do if I just kind of let you, if I'm feeling that way and I just kind of let you, you were focused on a lot of things and just like felt like those blinders were up. And it's like, what good is that going to do either one of us? Over the long run. And I think that, and you mentioned the same thing to me yesterday. Where it was like, I just had, I don't know, I had those blinders on.
Totally.
For whatever I was doing yesterday.
I think you just had a busy weekend, and he's a musician as well, so you played like gigs and stuff, and we're kind of sometimes recovering from those, just how late those are. And so sometimes your recovery mode is like to be on your phone or to play video games. And so my thing was like, I need to be first. Like, I have no problem, play video games, be on your phone. But when I'm like talking to you or when I'm present in the situation, I would love for that thing to go down and to be like just present with each other. And you were 100, and then like, this is the coolest part. Immediately you were like, you didn't say basically, I'm glad you brought that up, but something that was very like supportive of like, I'm glad you said this, or I'm glad you brought this up. And immediately you were present with me. I could tell you were listening to me. Like when we went outside to get on our bikes to go to dinner, you like biked up and like kissed me and told me you loved me. Like immediately you were super present with me again. And so that makes me more present with you. And that's where I think that our relationship continually feels new and connected and in love, because in so many ways, it's like we are completely different people than when we first met. And so it's like, do you not even have the commitment? I'm not like everyone needs to stay married forever. If someone's not growing with you, then so be it. You guys can decide what to do from there. But like to have a relationship where you consciously choose to grow together consistently is one of the greatest gifts, I think, on this planet.
Yeah.
Oh, no. No, I'm gonna cry.
Oh, my.
So that's one of the things I want to talk about on this podcast is conscious relationship.
Oh, yep.
But also conscious business, conscious money, conscious health. And it's not that we're the experts on all of it, but at the same time, you and I are in the best shape of our lives, and we both didn't have eating disorders, but had very disordered relationships with our body in the past.
Sure.
I mean, you lost 40 pounds?
Yeah, 35.
And I lost almost 30 pounds.
Yeah.
And I did all kinds of crazy things to myself. And I think you were super hard on yourself, right? Body-wise?
Yeah. I mean, it was the freshman 15 thing. And then it was like immediately, as soon as I saw that happen, I was like, nope.
Yeah.
Told myself I wasn't going to do it. Then it happened. And then I just sort of beat myself up until, the weight started coming back off, I guess. But that took a whole lot more work than it did to put it on.
Yeah. Well, and not that there's like a perfect size or that someone has to have a perfect body, but I think that honestly, this all goes hand in hand. And that's why we're talking about all the different topics, is that if you are numbing out in one area, most likely you're numbing out in all areas.
Yeah. And
you notice, or you don't notice for a bit, that somehow you have put on 10, 15, whatever pounds without knowing it, and you don't feel good, or you're getting sick all the time. And then you don't feel connected to your significant other, and you're arguing all the time. And you're in a job that you don't even enjoy, but you don't really believe that something else is possible. Or you're settling for earning less than what you know you deserve. It's all the same thing. You're either
bring back to the consciousness of
and it's not like enlightened. We're not sitting here saying we're enlightened. It's being conscious of how you feel, being conscious of what you desire, being conscious of and it doesn't have to be a moment to moment thing, but honestly it pretty much is. I'm very conscious of moment to moment. It's not something I'm thinking about, but if I suddenly notice that I'm not feeling good, I'm like, well, that's interesting. What's that about?
Yeah, it's an awareness. It's being present with your actions, your
intentions, your emotions, and not taking your crap and your garbage that is going to come up at times. It's fine. You're going to get triggered or fearful or frustrated or whatever. But instead of processing that by taking it to another human and dumping your crap and your garbage onto them, choosing to actually process it yourself is insanely powerful. Yeah. And of course, if I'm having trouble processing something, I'll bring it to you in a conscious manner where we can talk about it and work through it.
Right. And usually, in that manner, it's like you talk yourself just by, I don't have to really say much a lot of times. It's like,
I just talk to myself and you're like,
I hear it. And then, but eventually that kind of brings you back as well.
And actually the situation yesterday is a perfect example of this. And I think this is another thing. A lot of people who decide to be public figures or have online businesses or thought leaders or whatever, oftentimes put themselves on pedestals of this is how it works and this is how you need to be. And I think we're always very upfront and open about we're not perfect. We're human beings. We still have things that trigger us and scare us. And yesterday we went to the park with our pups, with our dogs, and we're playing there. And I think it was a mixture of things for me. And I don't even really need to know what it was. That's the thing. I don't need to solve the situation. It's more so just being aware of the emotion that was coming up. And so I was doing a bunch of messages and whatever. And I was starting to feel frustrated. And maybe even part of it was you're playing in the park with the dogs and I'm sitting over here doing messages instead of being open and present and playful
Sure.
and like putting these rules in place.
Sure.
So I started feeling frustrated. And then when we left the park, what was going on in my mind, but I didn't totally share this with you, was like, oh my gosh, we're supposed to meet your parents for dinner and it's already this time. And now I'm feeling like frustrated. And I still have these other things to do. And I still want to have enough time for myself to like relax and whatever.
Mm-hmm.
This is so common. It snowballs and you can tell when it's happening. It's almost like building up in your chest and you're not breathing deeply anymore. And you get into this like fight or flight mode. It's so common. And I went into this space and I basically vomited that energy onto you. Was like, bleh. And I didn't even say much. I was like, so what time is dinner tonight with your parents? But in probably a sharper than normal tone.
Maybe.
And because I was like, I think like basically I wanted to move it back an hour so I could have an extra hour, which that in and of itself would have been a totally fine request to make. Hey, I think I'd like an extra hour. Can you just push dinner? You would have been like, cool.
And we did.
Yeah. But I mean, it was the way that I approached it. Like, ah!
Just discussing what the plans were, and without being able to get out the full plans.
Actually, it's a question that we use a lot that's really helpful. When you're noticing someone's asking you something, but you can tell there's some charged energy behind it, something we'll ask each other at times is, what's the real question? Because it wasn't even a real question, but the real thing, the real emotion behind it was, I'm having a mini freak out. I need a minute. I don't want to see anyone. Can I go sit in the grass? Like, probably is what needed to happen.
It would have been fine. Yeah.
But the cool thing is after we had this little moment and we both were like frustrated with each other, I then was like, oh my God, I just dumped this on you. It has nothing to do with you. I'm frustrated about something else, which has led you to now be frustrated with me.
Yeah.
And this is what it means to live a conscious life. It's not and have a conscious relationship, body, business, income, all of it. It's not that you're perfect, but you catch your crap in its tracks relatively quickly.
Right.
Within about 5 minutes of all this happening, we were like, oh, it just happened. And it turned into this great gift.
Yeah.
We pushed dinner. I went to the spa. Everything was done.
Yeah.
Clients signed up. Everything is fine, as it always is. Nothing is ever an emergency, funny enough. And we're always in power. We always have so much power that we forget about.
Mm-hmm.
But the same way that we have the power to live in heaven, we also have the power to create hell on earth for ourselves.
Yeah.
Which a lot of people do.
Right.
They spin in their minds.
Yep.
If you guys have any questions, go ahead and drop them. I will check those here in just a second. But
and
how are we doing here?
Go ahead and wrap the podcast part, and you can keep doing the live.
Anything else you want to say around all of this, and around why we're even doing this? I guess.
No, I think we've kind of touched on what the main focus is, and yeah, we'll be releasing this in the next couple weeks.
Yeah, the Conscious Life officially goes live, the podcast.
Yeah,
we'll probably be sporadically doing some Facebook live streams of the actual recordings, which will be fun because you'll be editing out some of the crazy, which I'm not a fan
of it,
but
don't edit. Don't bring up editing.
We did a practice one a couple weeks ago, and I was like,
which may or may not be a practice. We'll see. We might put it in. But
you're going to edit it, but that's the magic.
Although if we wanted to release an outtakes, the entire audio could probably just be considered an outtake and not an actual. It
was a hilarious podcast. It's because you really wanted to do it, and it was at the end of a long day, and you finally were like, here's a beer. And so we went and laid on the ground in my new closet because it had the best acoustics at the moment. And we closed the door, and it's us two and our dogs. We each have a beer. That was our first podcast recording. Got weird fast.
Yeah.
It was awesome.
I haven't listened to that one yet.
I refuse to listen to it. The art is put out into the world, and then it is what it is. I don't need to re-listen to it. It's going to be fun.
Yeah. Re-listen to all this.
But yeah, we're excited that you guys are joining us. We're excited to be on this journey with you. We'll probably keep the Facebook Live going a little bit longer and go ahead and answer some questions here if there are any.
Yeah.
Just grateful.
Right.
Grateful to get to share this with other people.
Mm-hmm.
Because it really does have the ability to change your entire life.
Yeah.
Because I mean, more than anything, imagine waking up and no longer being in that fight or flight mode. And just like the first thing we asked today at breakfast was like, what are you most excited about today?
Yeah.
knowing that we have complete freedom to design our entire day, our entire life, our business, our offerings, our income,
Yep.
and our relationship.
Yeah.
Consciously.
Yeah.
That's what it's about. Love you.
Love you.
Cool. All right. Anything else we need to say to wrap up the podcast, or is that just how it goes? Oh, it's done. He's now cut it off.
Done.
That's why I want the podcast. It's like you're officially empowered. And you're like, and you're done.
That's
yep.
right.
Edited you off this part.
Yep. Exactly.
All right, my loves.
Sure.
Well, now that that's wrapped, any questions over here on Facebook Live land? We currently have the laptop sitting on an ice bucket. Let me see if I can bring it a touch closer to me. Yeah, is it? Am I still on it? No, I think it's
No, I
good.
think you're good.
Okay, let's make sure our brains are in it. Brack, will you stop itching on the bed? Brack?
He's on your side. It's
I
fine.
know. Look at him. Look at his face right now on the Facebook Live.
Huh?
The Bubba! What are you doing, Bubba? Are you a good boy? And if you look closely, there's a little Lilo. Lilo? Lilo? I saw her tongue. She's in the bed. Oh my God, you two. This is the real podcast. It'll be the four of us.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, guys. Well, any questions, anything you have? Let's just leave the Facebook Live going for a second. I want to see. You're still here?
What's that?
Hi.
Hi,
Are you
yes,
still here on the Facebook Live? Okay.
Yep, I'm still here.
My favorites. Hi, Sierra. Good thing you can control your response to that too. Aw. What are you pointing at? Yeah. Yeah. I have a coaching call in about 10 minutes, so I will be wrapping soon. But I just want to see. Oh, I love it, Sarah. You guys are being so relatable with such important dialogue right now. The validating and taking others' needs sincerely, not personally. Yes. Shifting everything from reactive to learning how to love each other better is so joyous. I'm in love with you doing this work. Thank you. And it's so important.
Thanks,
yeah. I mean, I just think it's going to change. Like, it's going to change lives. Like, that's kind of the whole point. That's why, I mean, you will have to talk a little bit here at some point around why you're doing Modern Day Gentleman and what that even means to you.
Yeah.
Because it goes hand in hand with all of this.
Yeah.
Do you want to touch on it for just a second?
It's just kind of, it's bringing back like kind of the gentleman in society a little bit, which is really not there as much as certainly as it used to, but it also has changed as well with the way society has changed. And it's like, you can't really, there are some instances where it's like, some of the manners that used to be prevalent in 50s and 60s and stuff, like you can't do that anymore.
Well, and sometimes those habits that were even incredible etiquette and stuff in the past were almost controlling to women to a certain extent.
Right.
And I feel like men and women at this point are having to redesign their relationship with each other and come back to the empowered feminine and masculine that it was always meant to be in the first place.
Right. And I think the growing part of that with the way, I guess, the two, the feminine and the masculine like interact has sparred, I think, men to go one of two directions, and it's going either like too aggressive and too kind of fighting what's come, and then but going the other direction as well, where it's like, I don't know what I can do.
Exactly.
I don't know
what. They're terrified to speak or whatever.
Yeah, terrified to do anything. And so it's like, well, okay, let's bring it back from both sides, and kind of revisit what it means to be a man. And
in relationship, I think that's why it's really important to have these conversations together.
Yeah.
Because I mean, even for those of you who have known me a while or are new to my business, like, I am an empowered woman. Like, I have my own business. I can definitely swing into the masculine in terms of like, I'm running a business. I'm focused on goals. I'm rocking things out. Like, it can be very on. But I found that that's really common for driven women. And what can tend to happen is it leaves us in situations where we feel like we can't relate to men, because there's something really incredible to be able to drop out of that space and come fully into my feminine and have you just like take care of me and have your arm around me. And you're so amazing around allowing me to fully be a woman as well. Mm-hmm. And a lot of times I feel like because we have that relationship, I've been able to learn to fully be a woman. Otherwise, I think that we've talked about this a little bit, and this is for like a whole other podcast and stuff since we've actually wrapped the podcast at this point, mm-hmm. but how there's times where I haven't felt safe being my fullest expression, that mm-hmm. I'm too sexy or too whatever and attracting unwanted attention. And this shouldn't be something that a modern woman should have to be afraid of, like editing herself down in order to be safe. And so it's like there's so much that I feel like you are going to be talking about that can actually transform the way that men show up and get to be a powerful, conscious man. Yeah. So that we can have conscious relationships between men and women,
sure.
and women and women and men and all of sorts, of course.
It's bringing back that respect a little bit too. It's like, yeah, like you say, like you're afraid of, you know, looking, you know, sexy or any of that. Yeah. And it's like, well, who's going to say what? And it's like, people still catcall. It's like, it's something that came up on that Lewis Howes episode yesterday. It was like,
because he's doing some great stuff on these topics too.
Yeah. And it was like men are still catcalling, and it's like the women would like, or he said in the middle, or in his answer, he asked the audience, it was a live thing, and he asked the audience, like, you know, who still gets catcalled on a daily basis? And it was like everyone raised their hand. And that's like, and then the guy who asked the question was like, I mean, how do I, you know, what do you do when you see something like that happen? It's like, you kind of want to respond, and but you also don't want to get
in a weird situation. Exactly.
Like, guys, anyway,
there's a full discussion on this, and I think that we'll be going into all of this a lot more with the Conscious Life podcast about relationships and about business and about showing up and getting to design your own role of who you want to be and not feeling like you have to edit yourself. Because I've just heard that so often of like, well, you were attracting the attention because you were too sexy or too dressed up in a certain way or whatever. And I just don't think, like, you get to be all of you. You get to be all of you in your business, in your life, in your relationships. It's about consciously being aware of what you need and how you show up, mm-hmm. and creating a world that respects that, really.
Yeah.
Okay, because of where we're at on time, I'm just going to scroll through comments real quickly and see if there's any questions.
All right.
And then we're going to wrap 60,000 thoughts a day and we don't actually think. Totally, Sarah. Exactly. Seriously, can't watch any television. It's mostly all about modeling awful communication styles. It's funny, but then if you think about it, it's horrifying and super sad. Yeah. I mean, that's what's happened. Like I said, in terms of like building conscious relationships, there's so many. He's not happening. Really, Lilo will come. No, 100%. We want Lilo and Brooke's perspective on the conscious life. Lilo is the conscious life. Lilo pulled a tarot card this morning somehow, and she pulled the Soul Family tarot card.
She straight up stomped on that card.
We're also starting to wonder, because she licks all of her food and like places it in random spots. We're trying to figure out if maybe it's Morse code or some other language she's trying to speak to us. So when Lilo is ready to speak fully, we'll let you know. Love it. Oh, hey, Marianne. Here you go, Sierra. Luke, will you make a video that defines for you what values or characteristics make a gentleman? I would love to share that in a really clear way, what that looks like.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think that's awesome.
Yes.
There's another idea I love. You were talking about masculine holds space, feminine embodies and applies while the space is held. Yeah, that's fascinating. I think this is such an important idea to describe what the concepts of control and safety really look like. That's fascinating because I feel safe in the space that you create.
Yeah,
I can express and create in a really massive way, really quickly, from ideas and programs, art, writing, money, like, because you create this incredible space that I feel really safe in.
Mm-hmm.
That's a really great point. That'd be a fascinating thing. Yes, our men can be really powerful forces in helping us feel safe and being fully ourselves. Exactly. And the other side of it is, it's not that like you need a man to fully be yourself by any means. But if we live in a society where both sexes are conscious of who they are, their emotions, their awareness, and how they interact with each other, then it doesn't mean you have to be in a relationship. Like if I felt fully comfortable and fully safe being all of me, it doesn't matter if I'm spending time with you or I'm going out to dinner by myself and maybe the lovely gentleman who's serving me or whatever.
Yeah.
Just meeting someone.
Right.
Like, you know, a lot of times when Luke's playing shows at bars and stuff, I end up meeting a lot of people and it's fascinating. Sometimes they're incredibly kind, lovely people. I will say,
it's a way to put it. Yeah.
This is a weird thing. I was just thinking, and I don't mean this as like anything American or not American. The couple times I can think of that guys were really respectful of me and had really amazing conversations with a guy I met recently from Israel and a guy about a year ago in Breckenridge that was from Ireland. And both of them just actually sat down and had real conversations with me.
Yeah.
And then this week, and then I've had multiple times where I've had plenty of weirdos come up to me and say all kinds of weird things. Some guy this weekend at one of your shows immediately was going off. He had no idea that I am technically wealthy. I guess we're almost 1% of 1% in terms of income. So I guess we're doing okay income-wise because that's just a natural side effect of fully being who you are. Right. And he sat down next to me and just started complaining about rich people and how there's a Dior and Aspen and those pretentious whatever. And he started comparing them to Hitler. I'm like, I'm carrying a Chanel purse.
Yeah.
He had no clue of any of that, but it's like, what is going through your brain?
Yeah, it's like how people relate. It's like,
yeah,
I'm just going to start complaining. And
here, I have this emotion. I'm going to dump it on you now.
Feel the same way, probably.
Exactly.
So I'm just going to have, I don't know anything about you, but yeah.
To wrap, because I have a call in 2 minutes.
Yeah.
Hi, Amy. I'll see you in just a second for our coaching call. To wrap, more than anything, all of it comes back to being conscious and aware that life is not happening to you, it's happening for you. Being aware that the emotions that you feel are simply there as your GPS system to help you notice when you're feeling good or not feeling good so that you can come back to your core and readjust from there. They're not, like if you don't feel good in this moment, it doesn't mean it's just you're having a crappy day and that's how it is. You have the ability to shift that in an instant. And when we stop taking our emotions and dumping them on other people to try to take their energy and make ourselves feel better, everything is going to transform. And that's really, I think, what we're trying to share as much as anything.
Yeah, absolutely.
Any final thoughts?
No.
This is fun. We'll do it again.
Yay.
We're officially living up here for the rest of the week. So,
yeah.
All right, Lilo? Anything else? P.S. It's in the description. If you're interested in private coaching, it's half off at the moment with me in my Unleashed program. It's 30 days of unlimited private coaching, daily voice and text messaging access to me. We chat every single day. You have a private coaching session included, 4 weekly live trainings that we're going to be doing every week, all about business and mindset and stepping into the space of really showing up and selling and being authentically you in all the ways. All right. I gotta go. Link is up in the description. It's actually just a link straight to my messenger. Message me directly if you have any questions. Doors close on Friday. Love you all.
Keep your eyes out for the Conscious Life podcast.
Yes. Can't wait. It'll be coming soon. To living free, my loves. Do you have a catchphrase yet?
No.
To being a modern day gentleman and to living free.
Sure.
This is Jessica Lindholm and
Luke Lindholm.